Hi, in this week's episode of Ways to Love Your Money, again, I'm Elisabeth Dawson. We want to talk a little bit about why affluent people don't necessarily become wealthy. We always kind of correlate the word affluent with a wealthy person. They might be living the life in their working years, but if they didn't save that money or were disciplined along the way, what do you think their years are going to look like when they get closer to retirement or when that life event might occur? So some people fail to create a retirement plan, early on, and then they end up with less money in their 50s and 60s. So many people I talk to, they want to retire by the time they're 50, 52, 55, 60. We have to think about health insurance if we retire young. Now, sometimes there's people in careers that can retire in their 50s that will have health insurance maybe for the rest of their lives or even until at least 65. We need to know about that piece. And then we might even have that mindset of being forever in the middle class. That doesn't necessarily have to be true, but we need to be mindful about where do we actually look at how to create our wealth today. Don't invest without a strategy or a professional. Make sure you have great professionals in your life. I always say that there's a professional for everything. And when it comes to comprehensive financial planning, this is where you need to have a great financial person that's a professional in your life. But what I want to do is share today with you a wonderful entrepreneur and a great friend that'll be on the show. She's got a great story about her business, and as a young entrepreneur, she has a story of, from her early 20s up to the fact that she's in her mid 30s now, her success story when it comes to being an entrepreneur, a business owner, and quite a creative individual. So hope you stay tuned for this. She'll be joining us in just a moment. Welcome back to Ways to Love Your Money. I'm Elisabeth Dawson, and we have an incredible guest today, and I'm so privileged to call her a dear friend. Her name is Tara Grier. I'm going to let her tell you about her story and what she's doing and what makes her this power woman out there today in the workforce. So welcome, Miss Tara.
Hi, Elisabeth. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here. So I want you to tell me a little bit about you, a little bit about your family dynamic, and go into the story of Fluffy Layers.
A little bit about me. I'm 36 years old. I married my college sweetheart, so to say. We have 2 little boys and lots of animals. I have a full-time job, and I also own an apparel company, and we have not only apparel, we have home goods and things like that, which I started about 4 years ago. And I guess that's it as far as me.
Okay, well, I know Fluffy Layers has been something that consumes you, but you love it. It's a love-hate relationship, I think, sometimes. But you are so passionate about wanting to get your product out to the public in any way you possibly can. So when you go through those pieces, tell me a little bit about the design and the kind of the ambassador of Fluffy Layers.
We originally started the company because we're the original inventors of the egg collecting apron. And what happened is that people are like, wow, your prints are great. What you're doing is great. Can you put it on a dish towel? Can you put it on this? Can you put it on that? And I thought to myself, like, wow, we could have a real brand here. And then when I started going out into the market, into trade shows, I noticed, like, we have no competition. There was nobody really doing anything what we're doing, and nobody really going after the farm and feed middle America business. So that's kind of where it started, and it just became this giant monster from there. And it's still a giant monster all the time.
But what I love about it, everything is chicken. It's all chicken. Chicken emblems on everything. And there's a lot of people that collect chickens. But I love the fact that you have this egg apron. And it's so darn cute.
Yeah, a lot of people have copied it, unfortunately, but the majority of what we have has chickens on it. But recently, we've been doing things with horses and getting the notice of the high-end Western apparel world, such as we got into Boot Barn and a few other really nice high-end retailers. So, I could really take it wherever I want to go. People have told me, I'm like, oh, I'm so busy, and I hate that word. I hate saying, oh, I'm so busy, because the truth is you created all this madness. And the good advice someone gave me is, like, you can just, stop it or start it at any given time that you want. But people like us just always have our foot on the gas.
I know, we drive, right?
Yes.
So you're a woman-owned business. You're doing this. Your husband's working. You've got a couple of kids, and these boys are constantly, running you ragged. And you're
Yeah.
doing this. You're basically holding it all together. How do you think you're doing so far?
Good, good, good. I check in with my husband. I feel like the weeks and the months and the days go by really fast. I'm like, am I crazy, or is everything like good? Like, you always kind of wonder, like, does this person need more attention? Does the dog need more? Does this child need more time with his homework, or more alone time, or because I travel too a lot. And all in all, you just find like a way that works for you. And what really works for me is explaining to my children what we're doing, like to the detail. Like I'll say, they'll be like, oh, you're on your computer. And I'm like, wow, if I wasn't on my computer, we're not going to Florida for spring break. So you have anything you want to say to that? And they get it. They know you have to work. You have to work to have things and to make money. And it's not even just about things. It's about, pursuing what you want to do. All those things are related to money.
So you're talking about a hard work ethic for your children. Is that how you were raised too, to have a hard work ethic?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say so. I mean, I always saw my parents working their butts off and never really stopping. There's little pieces you can take from that, oh, I emulate that. And then, sometimes people, I think, work too much.
Yeah. When is too much enough, right? You and I've had that conversation at times. When is enough enough?
Yes, yeah. Yes. You have to set boundaries for yourself, I think.
Yes. So, Ways to Love Your Money, it's a money show. We want to talk about the respect for money. And I know when we asked you this question, money is not necessarily your favorite thing to talk about, but tell me a little bit about your relationship with money and what it kind of creates for you.
I think that when I was younger, working in Manhattan and around people that made a lot of money, most people made more money than me. And then, we were 23 and we initially were given pretty high salaries. I think we spent like everything that we had above and beyond, like an $18 martini, we would just do it and not even think twice about it. And I think that I wasted a lot of money when I was young. I for sure regret that. And now I feel like as an older person, I have a new relationship with money recently in the past year where I just think of it differently, I guess I would say. I really, really think about something before I purchase it, as opposed to kind of just saying, well, I'll just work harder. But the new me is like, that's not a way to live your life either,
So this new way of living for you, what do you think has been the biggest hurdle you've gone over? What has been the drive for it to be more comfortable with your relationship with money and to be more mindful?
I think that I have to prioritize, as the different bills come in for the business or what have you, like prioritize what we're going to do, put everything on auto pay. I'm famous for messing that up. I mean, a lot of it comes down to like strategic organization. But that's really, I will admit, like that's really hard for me. I think I've been taking some steps in the right direction to be more organized about money. And I've seen the payoff from that for sure.
So do you think you're kind of in a better system and a procedure for what you're trying to accomplish now?
Yeah, I would say so. I think that there's certain parts of, well, in particular, my business is different than other people's because, you need a ton of capital to go in the direction that you want to go in. So, but I guess like I don't take everything. I take everything day by day. I say I'll figure it out. I don't panic if I get a giant order anymore because I feel like I have a lot of people that now support me and back me. Maybe people that, didn't want to invest in first now do. You kind of have to prove yourself for a while.
Mm-hmm. So how many stores are you located in now, or is it mostly online?
Oh no, we're probably in like 2,000 stores
That's incredible.
easily.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and we have our own e-commerce, and then we have a little bit of inventory on Amazon as well.
and so you're growing. What do you think you've done in sales, not dollars, but in percentage of increase, year over year?
Well, that's an interesting question. So, because we run with such a small amount of people, what division grows bases on what I choose to focus on. I will say lately, as far as our wholesale business is growing by leaps and bounds, in particular with our children's division. And I think that was crucial for me to see. I needed the business to drive itself for me to see which direction I was going to focus on. When I first started the company, everyone goes, "Oh, you can't do children's clothing. There's so much competition. Oh, you can't do this. Oh, you can't do that." I was like, whatever, I'm doing it all. And, some people accused me of saying I was going at, grasping at straws when I first started the business. Of course I was. I wanted to see what stuck with people. And, sure enough, some very well-respected people have told me not to do the children's clothing, and I did it, and it's selling. And, that very well might be my focus for 2020, to focus on, one category now that I know it's succeeding, but I needed to test them all for myself.
Well, when you first started this, what was your passion to start a business like this? What kind of called you to do it?
Oh, well, I love, color and fabrics and design, and I love animals, and I love all the creative things. But like when I meet with my accountant and they give me a bunch of paperwork and numbers, I'm like, I gotta go. Like, I cannot, I hate it. I hate it. So all I want to do is be the creative, and I've kind of figured that out too. Is like, I really want to be just the creative director of this company. I want to make all the patterns myself, but the other stuff makes me crazy because I get too passionate. I'm like, oh, well, if that doesn't sell, then forget that person or whatever, like I take it seriously.
So do you have someone that's helping you with the financial matters of the business now, the accounting, the bookkeeping, all that the accountant is kind of confusing you on? Do you have someone helping you with that now?
Yeah, I do, but they are not from our world. So they don't always understand, retail, wholesale, and how things operate. I'd like to find someone with like exact accounting experience within my, with what I do.
It's probably going to be hard to find. You have something really unique.
Yeah, no, I think so too. It's we also, we had to do a lot of organization to even have those meetings. So, sitting down and doing all that business stuff sometimes isn't always, it's hard for me to focus on that.
Well, for other young entrepreneurs out there, would you tell them to think twice, or would you tell them to move forward? What do you think?
I would think it depends on what stage of your life that you're in. It just depends on the person, I would say. Perfect example, people say stuff to me all the time about my social media. How are you doing all that? How do you have all those followers? And I'm like, well, when you're getting your hair done, you're out to dinner with your husband, you're running errands like a normal person, you're sitting in bed watching TV. I'm doing social media every second, every minute of my life. Everywhere that I go, I'm paying attention to something that relates back to my business. So it's almost like I'm living like two different worlds. My business is never not on my mind. And I think if someone wanted to start their own business, they would have to be willing to lay their soul on the line. And some people will know quite quickly if they can and cannot handle it. And if you can't handle it, just leave. Don't even try to make yourself that person. And if you can, then you can do anything, I think.
Well, I think that's an important factor to say, because we want to have success in business. We want to have success, even if we have a W-2 career, we want to have quality in what we do. And I think that hard work ethic that you grew up on, as well as the hard work ethic you're trying to teach your children right now too, it makes a difference, because not everyone has that mindset, right? So when it comes
Yeah.
to your relationship with money, it's about having maybe the right professionals around you, would you say, to help you make maybe the best money decisions when it comes to the business? But then on top of it, you got the house life too. You've got home life too. Does your husband help you with the home life financial decisions?
Yeah, I mean, lately it's just like I want everything simplified, and I think like that has really helped us, like simplifying everything that we have, that we own. That has been powerful. But yes, he helps me. But I really, really want to see this woman who's really well known in the finance industry. At some point, I want to see her and really, really get it together and get ahead, because I know you can do that for me.
Well, when the time's right for you and hubby, I'm here for you.
I know it.
Yes. We'll just make that appointment after this call.
It's going to be 75 hours. I'm going to lock you in a room.
Okay. Well, and we're going to have another episode with you, and we're going to talk about something else that you have, which is a major talent, and it comes to the marketing, it comes to the creative side, and that is really where your talent is. You're such a creative, and it helps so many people. And I think what you're trying to bring to the world, which, 2,000 plus stores, to have your brand there, that's a huge accomplishment. I know when we were talking about a few things more personal before, what would you tell your younger self that was spending that $18 on that martini to today about, how to buy things, how to buy a home, what to look for, that makes your life feel a little bit more simplified? Some money advice that you'd want to share.
Yeah, I think a lot of people in my age group right now are really caught up in a lot of stupid things like country clubs and all that, which I think is stupid. It's fine, and my point is that, like, people just get, I guess, no matter your age, you can't help but get caught up in material things. And I will say that the younger me doing all of those things, whether it was right or wrong, I think ultimately I have so much experience. I've done so many things. I guess with money, you could say that there's nothing that I'm really missing in life. So I guess to your point, or to your question, what would I tell someone to do better? I think when you're young, you should spend your money and have fun. I really feel strongly about that. There was a point in my life where I had no children, and we used to have, we still have fun, but we used to have a lot of fun and spend money. And I don't regret any of it. So I guess that's my thought on that.
Well, I don't think you're alone, because I think what happens is we get consumed about raising children at one point, trying to build your wealth, you're trying to accumulate, because one day in the future that you want to slow it down. You're going to want to slow it down somehow. Sometimes my business owners, they think that the answer to their problems is that they're going to just sell their business for this enormous amount of money and everything will be solved. It's not necessarily the case. So along the way, the money conversation becomes a little bit more difficult. But if we're that much more driven and disciplined today, the payoff, within 5, 10, 15 years from now is so much greater. Because then the next stage is going to be, children and going to college. There's always going to be a life event that we're not totally prepared for. So it's maybe itemizing all those things that are on your mind.
Yeah, I kind of can see my path even though I do own a business and it is in wholesale and apparel, which is kind of up and down. I kind of see my path, my life can be this way. I guess my number one advice is, like, just don't add things to your plate. Like, even if you want some fancy dancy car and you can't afford it, just don't. Like, it's just not worth it. That's just my opinion, because you could just do less and have more time and moments with your family if you had less material things,
No, I agree. I hear, repetitively on this show, people want the experience in life. So I don't think you're any different than that. And you want to experience things with your children. You want to experience things with your husband and maybe family or friends. And if you don't have the means to be able to do those things because we spend it on something completely different, we kind of lose sight. Now, just last question, how passionate are you now about saving money and doing the right thing with it?
Way more, way more, way more. Honestly, I look up to you. I look up to a lot of people that I know that are, doing really well and have these, doing really well, also meaning that they're happy and they're fulfilled, but they have good businesses. So yeah, I mean, I definitely really admire, that lifestyle of simplicity, but yet also being successful. I think there's a medium, and I think that you have achieved it, and I think it's great.
Well, thank you for that. I have a great team that helps support that though too. And you're one of those
Yeah.
people on that team. So I'm going to pause for this episode, but we're going to have another episode to come, which I think is going to be great. And if this speaks to you, the most powerful thing that you can start to do is really be realistic about your situation and your relationship with money. If you're that 20-something and it's just, oh, okay, everything's frivolous and we're enjoying life, which is fantastic. I think people should actually have that opportunity. But if we start younger and we're more mindful about really the traction that we want to go on when it comes to our relationship with money, we're going to be that much more successful. If you're that person that I interviewed probably last year sometime and they told me that they wanted to retire by the time they were 40, we got a lot more to save if we want to accelerate that retirement by 40. But maybe your date is 50 or maybe it's 55. Maybe it's not 70. Some people out there want to do that. But there's a difference between saying I have to work versus I want to work because I'm passionate about it. I hope this interview, this filming, this show really speaks to you because I think this is talking to every individual out there, especially working moms, creative individuals, and it's just a time balance and experience of life. So stay tuned for next week's episode. We can't wait to talk to Miss Tara again. The information provided in this show is for informational and educational purposes only. This show is not investment advice, nor is it intended to address the financial needs of any particular viewer. The opinions expressed on this show are not intended to be an endorsement of any particular investment strategy or service of any other kind. You must make an independent decision regarding investments or strategies mentioned throughout the show. Before acting on information in this show, you should consider whether it is suitable for your particular situation and strongly consider seeking advice from a financial advisor.